Really, spoke to Shakur last night. He damaged his hand in camp. He's been training in Colorado, sparring, and went to get a scan last night. And he's torn the tendon in his knuckle. He had to go for immediate surgery, which he had this morning. He's out of surgery now. Very disappointed, you know, obviously disappointed for himself, and we're disappointed for Shakur and Joe Cordina as well, and for Riyadh's season. But there's nothing you can do, you know.
Tank Davis made fun of Shakur Stevenson after he had sustained a hand injury. Stevenson has been forced to withdraw from his scheduled WBC lightweight championship defense against Joe Cordina due to a hand injury that requires immediate surgery. In a Matchroom report, it said the bout that was supposed to take place on the undercard of the Riyadh season event in Saudi Arabia on October 12th between Dimitri Bivol and Artur BBV has been postponed for the past 2 weeks. Though it's uncertain if Shakur overexerted himself by holding back on his punches in an attempt to impress boxer Terence Crawford, he was spotted striking the MF.
How? Show me something that he did spectacular. Show me something that he did outrageous. Show me. His power not outrageous.
Okay.
What defense?
You think he got defense?
He just jumped back. You never see him slip no punch. You never see him slip no punch. Go look at it. You see him back up from a lot of people. Back up, move around. He don't got no technique. And his offense is the same thing. Go look at his fights.
So you feel like that's
him on
easy
game,
work?
Yeah,
but you feel like it's easy work though.
With the latter. It's probable that Stevenson tried to live up to the pressure of being the star of his next fight against Cordina by overcommitting to his blows and using more force than his hands could handle, unaffected by the price of admission. Matchroom fans eagerly awaited Stevenson's return to the ring on October 12th. However, their excitement has since turned to disappointment when he hurt his hand during a sparring session last night and tore an tendon in his knuckle, requiring emergency surgery. Matchroom boxing promoter Eddie Hearn stated of Shakur Stevenson's hand injury, "I'm hoping..."
Looking at a couple guys right now, but he'll be back before the end of the year. As it relates to the Shakur Stevenson fight, Tank wants him. Tank wants him. But it's all about the timing of everything. All about the timing.
I feel that we've got a 2-fight plan with Shakur. Hopefully extends Joe Cordina, Zepeda in February. I think that Tank against Shakur is one of the biggest fights in the sport. I think Tank is so exceptional. It's going to take someone as good as Shakur to give him a real fight. And I like
for a good job in there and back to work as soon as possible. It's evident he's terribly disappointed. Though he was eager to fight during Riyadh season, he must finish this. He cannot go on fighting as I claim, get a speedy surgery, and return to the ring unbeaten in 2025. Hearn will not be returning until early 2025. Hence having to withdraw from the Joe Cordina fight on October 12th. It was not made clear by Matchroom's release whether Stevenson and Cordina would compete in 2025 once Shakur has fully recovered from surgery. Promoter Eddie Hearn's plans for Shakur Stevenson, who he recently praised as the fighter capable of stopping Davis in 2025, are upended by the injury. Stevenson was supposed to fight Cordina, who just suffered his first defeat on the undercard for $14. 99 point.
I disagree. Tank loses rounds.
Tank decides to do what he wants to in certain fights.
We can have a big bet on that fight.
Most definitely.
I think Shakur's the man to beat him.
Shakur cannot Tank. He's a very good fighter. A lot of respect for him, what he's done in the ring. He got a good team around him, but he can't Tank. Can't beat Tank.
I disagree with you on that.
Can't beat Tank.
I'm very disappointed that I won't be able to fight on October 12th, Shakur said. I had hoped to play Joe Cordina next month, but I have to heed the doctor's advice and have these injuries healed as soon as possible to make a good comeback in early 2025 moving forward, with his intentions to pair Shakur against William Zappa in February and scheduling Tank Davis for the summer will allow Hearn to sidestep the inconvenience of extending his 2-fight pact in order to get the bout with Davis. With the result in hand, Hearn's situation would be made simpler for Shakur's second fight under his 2-fight contract, should Hearn choose to pit Shakur against ZPA. Stevenson may have to endure another challenging bout in which Stevenson must lose. If Shakur prevails in both contests, promoters will be vying for Hearn's signature because Shakur would become a highly sought-after commodity. Fortunately for the ex-IBF super featherweight champion, Shakur's fight with the American is slated.
To get into those details, I mean, obviously, he's won every fight that he's had in the ring, but the business is always different. You know, we all know what Tank brings to the table. Tank, every time he comes out, you get this. You know, so he's going to keep on doing what he's doing. Inevitably, those two will meet in the ring. It will happen. It will definitely happen.
I agree with you. I'll say something about Shakur. His fire has been dampened for a long time by people that knew he was going. Right? He did a big gate in Newark. He was the highest rated fight on ESPN this year. Shakur does big numbers, but they didn't want to tell everyone that he does big numbers. If we keep building him and he comes up against a commercial giant like Tank, Shakur against Tank is one of the great...
Early 2025 due to surgery on his damaged hand. Shakur would be a useful asset for whatever team contracts him. The unbeaten WBC champion, who had a perfect 220 record, shared an update on Instagram, saying that God orchestrates life's highs and lows in surprising ways. My best year to date is going to be 2025. The surgery went well, and this setback is only temporary before a major recovery. I'm still as hungry and focused as ever. The lack of Stevenson vs. Cordina on what appeared to be an amazing fight card will undoubtedly disappoint boxing fans. The highly anticipated battle between BBF and Dimitri Bivol in the undisputed light heavyweight division was intended to be the highlight of the event, but it is currently scheduled to not happen. Eddie Hearn, the chairman of Matchroom Boxing and promoter of both Shakur Stevenson and Joe Cordina, recently discussed his thoughts on the illness plaguing the WBC lightweight champion. He had recently signed Stevenson as a client and described him as a generational prospect. Capacity Hearn would be disappointed to learn that he was hurt during a recent interview with Fight Hub TV. Hearn wrote in his fighter status report that he had talked to Shakur the previous evening. Shakur had injured his hand during a sparring match in Colorado. He said a scan indicated that he had torn the tendon in his knuckle, requiring emergency surgery, which he underwent that same morning. On behalf of Joe Cordina, Shakur, and everyone connected to the Riyadh season, he expressed disappointment, but he accepted the inescapable nature of the situation. Very little, really, he spoke with Shakur last night about how he had hurt his hand at camp, how he had been sparring as a kind of training in Colorado, and how, when he went to get a scan yesterday night, he learned that critical surgery was required this morning. He's now really disappointed, not just for himself but also for Shakur, Joe California, and Riyadh season. But since this is an extremely unique circumstance, there's nothing you can do. Tim Bradley believes that Shakur Stevenson's performance has decreased since he switched to lightweight. Blaming undisclosed medical conditions for this decline, Bradley, a boxing expert, notes that Shakur has been particularly quiet about any injuries he might be experiencing since moving up to 135 pounds. Bradley surmises that Shakur's underwhelming performances in those bouts against Edwin de Los Santos and Artem Hirata Tunin might have been caused by this silence. Shakur lacked confidence in his chin and was anxious about taking hits. When asked if his theory about Shakur's injury has influenced his career consistently, Bradley says nothing. This hesitancy is comparable to how uninteresting Shakur's bouts with Jeremiah Nalinia were. Christopher Garcia, Oscar Valdez, Head Gonzalez, and Robson Canasso since 2019. Should Shakur's cautious stance in the ring be the result of ailments he suffered in 2019, he might want to consider retirement or dropping to 126 PBS to ease the pressure in his most recent fights. Media reports claim that pundit Tim Bradley said Tupac Shakur is a fighter who prefers not to talk about his injuries too much, and that as a result, we haven't seen the best of him. This implies that he might be addressing a private matter. Bradley appears to be defending Shakur, but the truth is hidden by his justifications. Shakur has never been a boxer who really draws attention. Why would he compete in the Olympics in such an amateurish way if he was indeed injured? Shakur Stevenson lost against Robus Ramirez mostly because of his propensity for swerving and evading in the ring. His evasive strategies did not impress the judges, and they disqualified him from winning. He felt terribly betrayed. Shakur, unable to accept the outcome, sobbed uncontrollably. Regarding answering the critics, give them a chance to speak. If you prevail over William Zappa, keep winning and disproving doubters. That's it. In terms of entertainment value, these supporters pay to witness your fights. It's necessary for fighters to maintain equilibrium. Despite everything that was bad, Bradley Stevenson Shakur is basking in the glory of heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua's praise. because, in choosing him, he overlooked other prominent figures like Terrence Crawford and Javante Davis. Stevenson, who received appreciation for his extraordinary grace and technique, was happy with the favorable Joshua praised Stevenson profusely in an interview, referring to him as the best boxer in the nation. After a boxing page published the message on Twitter, Stevenson spotted it and took the opportunity to reply, praising Joshua in return. Stevenson's confidence was further strengthened by Joshua's commendation as he continued to advance in his goal to rule the ring. He said, "Thank you, champ, I'm stomping all over the 21st century with you. Anthony Joshua, one of the toughest fighters in the world." Joshua just stated in a tweet that he is preparing to go back into the ring in a few days. Daniel Dubb, a fellow Brit, will face the former champion in a thrilling heavyweight match. Stevenson expressed confidence in Joshua's potential to win against Dubuis,